Hello friends, welcome back again. In our previous session, we have discussed about the one of the option AMI. So we have few more options while launching this EC2 instance. We have to keep it in mind. So let me go through few options. So already I have logged in my AWS console. Let me click the launch instance. Now we are clear about the name and tags, right? So the default key is name and value is we can give whatever we want. So I'm giving Linux server 1. In our previous session we discussed about the complete AMI. So let me go through the notes. So what is the AMI? AMI is a region dependent Amazon mission image. What AMI will do, and how much time, how we can move from one region to another region, what we can do with the AMI, so how we can manage the AMIs, so which AMI we have to choose. We have seen this option in the previous session. So when we create the AMI, what happened in the back end? So it will create the snapshot, right? If you don't want the AMI, that time what we have to do, we can deregister. So we can see so we can see that options as well. And if I can jump into the next section, so this is the first section is the AMI layer. So the next layer is the instance type. So already we know about the key pair section. So the network section, network settings, just park it side. We will discuss about later about the network settings. For now, we can discuss about instance type. What is the instance type? So how it will work? So what we have to do exactly? So we can see these options. What are the available options over here? Okay. So let me go to the PPT. Okay, let me open it. Yeah. So in the instance types of on EC2 in AWS, we have different types are the features. So Amazon EC2 offers many instance types to support different types of workloads. Each EC2 instance type has unique combination of CPU, memory, storage, and networking. Instances come in different sizes like small, medium, large to match your workloads and size. You can easily scale up or scale down by changing the instance type or size. So if you open this link instances.vantage.sh, you will get to know the all details. This is dot. See, here we can see the lot of instance types along with uh, memory size, CPUs, and instance storage, everything, on demand price, Linux reserve cost, Linux part, and Windows reserve cost, everything. It will help us the document. Okay, I'll give this link in description so you can refer it if required. Let me walk through here. So Amazon EC2 instance types of basically general purpose, compute optimized, memory optimized, storage optimized, accelerating computing. So these are the EC2 instance type specifications. So how we can choose the right EC2 instance type? See, if you go to the launch instance section in AWS section, so we have to choose the instance type, right? T2 micro, T2 small, or T2 medium. How we can select this? See, based on the CPU, based on the memory, and based on the price, everything we have to keep it in mind, right? Like we are, if you are installing any software, see few of the softwares for CPU required and 8 GB memory is required. So based on that, we have to choose the instance type. So that is very very important. So EC2 instance types are options. We can launch it through the based on the application performance. So we need to choose which application we are going to install in our server. So that thing we have to keep it in mind. Based on the scenario only, we have to install the, we have to choose the right EC2 instance type. Okay, for if I mistakenly choose the T2 micro instance, so that instance is unable to support, that time do we need to terminate it again? No, we can stop the instance, then we can change the EC2 instance type. So that will also will work. Without stopping EC2 instance, no, we can't change the instance type. Okay, so for now keep these points in your mind. Later we will show the theoretical as well, practical as well. Okay, let me go to the general purpose. So for now keep it in mind, general purpose, the shortcut is TMA. So which means if I filter the name with T, there is a T3 small, T3X large, so we can filter it based on that. T2, T2. So these are the T family instances. T family instances. So general purpose TMA. The general purpose instances have the good balance of CPU, memory, and networking. So that if I talk about the T2 micro, it is having 1 GB memory, one CPU. So this is the equivalence. T2 small, 2 GB memory, 1 CPU. T2 large, 8 GB memory, 2 vCPUs. It is 0.0928 cost hourly. So, which is allocated in North Virginia region. If I change the region, price will be different. For common uses, the general purpose instances include hosting gaming servers, managing small databases, handling projects. So, for the common purposes, general purpose of instances are familiar. So, if interviewer will ask the questions, so what are the instance type specifications are available in AWS? You have to answer like this: general purpose instances, compute optimized, memory optimized, storage optimized, and accelerating computing. So these are the 5 types of instance type specifications are available in AWS cloud. So general purpose supports, just keep it in the blind mark like TMA. So which means T family, M family, and A family. So these are the instances are in general purpose. So you have to remember the one more point here. T family instances are also called as a burstable instances. Burstable instances means that CPU performance can be increased when needed. The duration of performance exceeding baseline levels depends on the instance and credits. special units accumulated when your instance operates at the base performance. So you should remember the T family instances. So which is a burstable instances. So whenever you want, we can increase the CPU performance. So this is the only one feature is available in only for the T instance family only. So if I talk, if any interviewer asks the questions like, help me the burstable instances families, so we can directly say the answer T family instances. Then A1 instances are the ARM based offering the EC2 instance type, which means advanced risk mission. So ARM means advanced risk mission. So, but that instances are we no need to we are not using that because like most probably we'll go through T family or M family only. So that if I talk about the M4 comma M5 general purpose instances are not burstable. M4 utilizes older Intel Xeon processors. So if it is a Gen processor, what will happen? So that generally M4 large and M4 X large that instances used for the memory storage purpose. M dot large, sorry, MX M dot large. Oops. M family. See, these are the general purpose. M5D 8X large, right? See, we have wide varieties of M5 dot M2 X large. So we have M2 X large contains 2 CPU, 420 GB HDD hard disk internal storage, right? We have 17 GB internal memory as well. So based on the instance offers, we have to select the right EC2 instance type. So compute optimized. So the compute optimized instances are designed for applications that need high CPU performance. Like see, some of the applications need a high CPU performance. Like it will traffic coming frequently. It will go to the millions of traffic. So that time we have to select the compute optimized instances. So these instances provide faster processing compared to general purpose instances. So best choice when you computing power is more important than the memory or storage. So C4, C5 main compute optimized instances. C5 uses newer hardware. So if I say about the C family instances, we have 15 GB memory, 8 vCPUs. 60 GB memory, we have 30 vCPUs. See, earlier we see the T2 T family instances, we can see 1 CPU, 1 memory, 8 CPU, 32 GB memory, right? But C family instances, huge amount of CPU. So this is the designed for CPU memory. This is designed for CPU performance. See, general purpose is for the general purpose of instances. It's designed for the small database or small projects. The compute optimized is for any kind of the like gaming applications, that kind of scenarios we have to use the compute optimized instance types and memory optimized instances. So the best example here is R family, X family, and Z family. R family. So R4X large. See, here it is designed for the memory 16 vCPU along with 122 GB memory. See, memory optimized instances are designed for workloads that involves processing large data sets in memory and Memory refers to RAM, right? See, memory refers to RAM, which enable the concurrent execution of multiple tasks. So it will execute the multiple tasks same time. The data stored in memory is utilized for executing central processing unit. So which means CPU task loaded from storage to memory for efficient processing. So generally, for memory optimized instances using for the any caching processor like that. R4, R5, same with a C4, C5, but this is the main instance, but R5 is newer. So there is nothing difference from the C4 and C5, but the main instance is but R4 newer. Storage optimized instances. So why we have to use the storage optimized instances? You can keep it in the blind mark IDH. IDH, it will help us the storage optimized instances. Storage optimized instances are tiled for the workloads required rapid sequential read and write access to the extensive datasets. I3 general purpose is with SSD storage. See, generally we have, if I see storage here, EBS storage and SSD storage, right? That I family comes with the SSD storage and HDD storage. So different types of storage are available. So we have to choose the which application we need to run. Either RAM is required, either memory is required, or storage is required, or compute is required. So based on the thing, based on the requirement, we should launch the EC2 instance types. If we select the wrong size, so T2 large, T2 medium, so we can increase the size again. So that is not a big deal for us. We can stop the instance and we can change the instance type. So D2 intended for the really large and slow storage and use HDD disks. So and H1 basically the same as D2 but with the smaller capacity of HDD. Accelerate and final one is accelerated and accelerated computing instances. So these are the instance families P, F, G, and F1. So accelerated computing instances uses for co-processors, also called as hardware accelerators, to speed up specific tasks. Co-processors are specially hardware components that perform certain operations faster than regular CPUs. So it will give us the extra acceleration to the computing instances. If I search for the P family, see here it is, the memory size is 2048 GB and CPU is 192. So this is the 63,000 hourly bill, right? More than $63,000. Oh, sorry. Oops. So this is the cost. So it is getting too much of cost. So seriously, I haven't used these instances till now, but these are the options are available. And P2 P3 general purpose instances with the NVIDIA GPUs on board, and G3 G4 machine learning optimized instances. So this is about the instance types, friends. So just write down the notes and just comment below, like if you have any doubts about the instance types. Let me recap one more time. So instance types, we can say 5 types: general purpose, compute optimized, memory optimized, storage optimized, and accelerating computing. So this is about the nodes. So let's talk about one more point: instance pricing. So this option is not available here, but we can see it. How we can purchase the EC2 instance? So there is the different ways we can. First one is on demand. On demand means whenever you want, you can launch the instance, and once your work is done, you can terminate the instance, right? So that is the one option. Just you can launch the EC2 instance and we can terminate the instance. Okay. So then one more type is there. So spot instances. The spot instances, so we can launch the spot instances. See here is the option spot request. You can launch the EC2 instance, but it is a low cost only. But if any request came to for the on demand or reserved instances, yes, the AWS team will terminate the EC2 servers with the 2 minutes of the prior notification. They will directly terminate. We can't retrieve any data. So it is a cheaper, so much cheaper, but we can't maintain hourly basis, right? And one more option is reserved instances. The reserved instance or EC2 instance, you can reserve the advance for 1 or 3 years with a standard rupees. So if they will allows, they will give some discount as well. So we can purchase one EC2 instance either 1 year or 3 years. We can reserve the instances. Yes, I need so many servers. So these are the reserves. We can reserve our EC2 instances. So these are the options. And final option here it is dedicated host. So the dedicated host, what it will do, this is a physical server assigned to you. They will allow one dedicated server for you. So if you can use it or not, so you have to pay the money. So if you want to run more large applications, so it will get one license for you, so then it will allocate one entire dedicated instance. See, you can purchase EC2 instance type, which EC2 instance you want, which availability zone you want. You can select everything, you can allocate. So based on that, you can choose that dedicated host only it will work. Okay. So these are the ways we can purchase the EC2 instances. See, on demand, generally we are using, we can pay the money. So it will also get some discount. But spot instances, if you want to do any POC, which means proof of concept, that time we can launch EC2 instance. And if any losses the EC2 instance also, yeah, that is fine. We don't want anything, right? Like any job, batch processing, any scripts testing. For testing purpose only, we can launch the spot instances. Until unless spot instances, we can't use it. And reserved. See, if your application running, yeah, you have launched the new product, so it is available in more than 3 years, right? That time you can go for the reservation. You can go for the reservation for 1 year or 3 years, so you will get the tempting discount. That will be really helpful for you, right? And dedicated host. So this is the physical server assigned to you alone. But if the entire dedicated host went down, so you will host your application. So this is a get extra cost. In real infrastructure, if you're launching the EC2 instance, we have to keep it in mind cost as well, right? So based on that only we have to launch the EC2 instance. Now, already we have launched the T2 micro instance type. So if I want to change the instance type, how I can do that? Just go to actions, instance setting. So I can choose the instance type is available, but when the instance is stopped, right? So what I have to do on this, first let me go to select the instance and stop instance state and stop the instance. Once instance is stopped state, then only I can change the instance type. Right now it is T2 micro, right? From T2 micro to I can change T2 medium. So without stopping, we can't change it. See, earlier we have observed that if instance is running, that time what happened? Instance state settings, it went to grade, grayed out. Now it is enabled. Change instance type. Now whatever instance type we want, we can search it. See, it will get the on-demand pricing. So how much CPU it will offers and memory and GB, T2 micro, T2 medium. So you can see the difference. See, it is 102 for memory, 4096 memory, and this is a 0.0116 USD per hour, 0.0464 USD per hour. So we can get the these are the differences. Then change it. After instance type has been changed, see now you can observe here. Just refresh the screen. Now it is T2 medium. So you can start the EC2 instance. This is the way to we have to launch the EC2 instance, and if required you can change the instance type as well. But before that you have to stop the EC2 instance, right? So after that you can copy the public IP, you can use the putty tool, you can connect to the EC2 server. So this is the we seen in the previous sections, right? So you are aware of this all options, right? Here you can see we have name and AMIs, and now we are aware of that instance type as well and key pair. So for now the network settings, so that is a big topic, so we can discuss in the further lectures. So we can discuss about networks, which means VPC, subnets, auto assign public IPs. So we can discuss all those things and security groups and configurations. This is the volumes we can discuss it. So and one more option we have while launching EC2 instance, we need to memorize few more instructions, but this is not required. The which is more interviewer favorite question, placement group. So where we can see exactly the placement group. See, we are unable to see any here. So instance type, key pair, network, all those options are available. But where we can see the placement group? Yes, in advanced details. Here you can see the placement group here. Here is the placement group. Right now we don't have any placement group. The defaultly it will take the non-placement group only. So but the what are the placement groups are available? So what is the placement group? You can see it. So when you launch a new EC2 instance, AWS distribute instances across underlying hardware to reduce the risk of correlated failures. However, for specific performance, latency, or compliance requirements, you may need greater control over instance placement. This can be achieved by using placement groups. So logical grouping of instances with a availability zone. So in the simple, so placement group is the logical grouping of instances within the availability zone. So in the first when we discussed about the AWS global infrastructure, so that time we seen, right. So under region we have multiple availability zones. Under multiple availability zones, each availability zone we have different data centers. On each data center, we have different racks. Everything we have, right? So, first one is a cluster placement group. So, what it is? Cluster placement group, logical group of EC2 instance within the single one availability zone. If I click the create new placement group, what are the options are available here? If I click the create a placement group, name, placement group, don't create it, just see the strategies, cluster, spread, partition. So this is not required, but you should remember the points as well. So this will defaultly, it will select for the none only, but no need to create any placement group. But see, you should know the what are the options are available, and what if you interviewer ask the questions, that time you have to answer it right. So that is why you should learn it. So the cluster placement groups are designed to provide up to 10 GB of bandwidth between instances, making them well suited for applications that demand ultra low latency and high network through output. When you create cluster placement group, AWS strategically places the instances in close proximity, often within the same rack or network switch, to optimize latency and enhance network performance. If you see what happen if you create the cluster placement group, all EC2 instances it will launch in only one rack, one rack or one switch. With cluster placement group, if racks fail, all instances will fail at the same time. Right? It will close. All instances are in one house. What will happen that time? It will go automatically. If one the placement group went down, automatically all servers went down. Right? So then a cluster placement group can't span multiple availability zones. So the already we said about. So the cluster placement group is the logical group of EC2 instances within one availability zone. So we can't maintain multiple availability zones. So so this is the diagram. Just you can refer it. So under VPC we can discuss it about the VPC. So under one subnet, under two subnets we can create the one placement group. So we can launch all three instances in one placement group. If one this placement group went down, so the three servers went completely down, so our application is we can't accessible. So this is the cluster placement group. That second one option here, it is spread placement group. The spread placement group is a logical grouping of instances that ensures they are placed on distinct underlying hardware, thereby minimizing the risk of simultaneous failures due to shared infrastructure. In previously, we see the cluster. So the cluster placement group is in it will deploy the all EC2 instances in one rack, so that if one rack went failed, so that all instances went failed. So that spread placement group what it will do, so it will underlying hardware means it's completely one rack, or not, I can say rack, one data center, I can say one data center or one complete building. When instances are launched in spread placement group, AWS ensures they are placed on separate underlying hardware, enhanced availability and providing fault tolerance for critical applications. The spread placement groups are not supported for dedicated instances. So that is the one disadvantages. And data transfer between instances within the spread placement group and those outside group may incur additional charges. In the spread placement group, max 7 instances per availability zone. Spread group only. So which means if one of the region is available in 3 availability zones, so then you can launch 21 instances only. If you want to launch the 22 instance, so that is not possible. So it will support only 7 instances in availability zone. The final one here it is partition placement group. The partition placement group reduce the risk of correlated hardware failures by launching instances across multiple partitions. Each partition is logical segment created by Amazon EC2 to isolate groups of instances on separate underlying hardware. Amazon EC2 ensures that each partition within a placement group is isolated on its own set of racks, providing hardware level fault tolerance. And each rack its own dedicated network and power source, and no two partitions within the placement group share the same racks. This design helps isolate the impact of hardware failures, enhancing the resilience of your application. And partition placement group can have partitions in multiple availability zones in the same region, and they can have maximum of 7 partitions per availability zone. So there is some limitations. The partition placement group names must be unique within the region and adhere to specific naming convention. So these are the rough picture about the partition placement group. So in one availability zone, we can do max number of 7 partitions, and in the 7 partitions, each partition using logical separation of each partition using different switch, different network, different rack. That is why we can that is the way we can manage the instances. So these are the 3 placement groups are available to launch the EC2 instances. Now we have completed the AMI, instance types, key pair section, and this placement group section. Right? We can see about more details about what 2 more options has been left. So that is the one for the tenancy. So the tenancy here it is, we have 3 options about the tenancy. So for when we launch the EC2 instance, no need to select anything, but you have to learn these options: shared tenancy, dedicated tenancy, and dedicated host. So we can see detail in the next session. So, and one more thing, we have user data. So these 2 options are pending about EC2 instance. We'll see you in the next lecture. Until then, bye bye. Thank you, friends.